What narcissists know about you and themselves that you might not be aware of. Have you ever felt like you were being manipulated by someone, but you just couldn't put your finger on how or why? Chances are, you were dealing with a narcissist, a master of deception who knows exactly how to push your buttons and control the situation to their advantage. In this video, we're going to pull back the curtain and expose what these tricksters really know about you and themselves. Get ready to have your mind blown as we reveal the shockingly selfish thought processes and cunning tactics narcissists use to get what they want at your expense. We'll cover the key warning signs to watch out for, the insidious mind games they play, and most importantly, how to protect yourself from falling into their traps. By the end, you'll be armed with the knowledge to spot a narcissist from a mile away and shut down their malicious schemes before they can do any damage. Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride into the twisted world of the narcissist psyche. Let's dive in. If you find this eye-opening info helpful, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss more videos exposing toxic personalities and giving you the tools to deal with them. What the narcissist knows about you. Have you ever felt like someone could read you like an open book, even when you thought you were holding your cards close to your chest? Well, that's because narcissists have spent their whole lives studying one thing: you. To a narcissist, you're like a shiny new toy they can't wait to take apart and figure out how to control. Like kids studying ant farms, they observe your every reaction, taking meticulous notes on your fears, insecurities, hopes and dreams, anything they can use as ammunition. They're psychology professors with PhDs in poking at your vulnerabilities. It's sickening, but also genius in the most devious way possible. Let me break it down. Your deepest insecurities. Narcissists know that we all have chinks in our armor, the personal doubts, flaws and shortcomings we try to hide from the world. With expert precision, they'll identify your biggest self-esteem blind spots. Maybe it's your looks, intelligence, career, etc. Like snipers, they target those fragile areas with their snide remarks and put-downs, chipping away at your confidence until you're desperate for their approval and validation. An insecure wife constantly seeks reassurance about her appearance and cooking ability from her narcissistic husband. He's happy to keep her doubts alive with subtle criticisms like, "This is a little salty, but I know you tried your best." Your goals and motivations. Narcissists are masters at feeding you the vision of the life you want, then holding it just out of reach to string you along. Maybe you dream of being an amazing parent, having a successful career, or finding true love. They'll dangle that carrot in front of you, but only if you play by their rules. They use your ambition as a leash to control your behavior. A narcissistic boss keeps promising a high-performing employee a long-awaited promotion if they continue going above and beyond on ever-increasing workloads and responsibilities with no extra compensation. Your fear of abandonment. In many cases, people who are drawn to narcissists have experienced some kind of emotional abandonment or neglect in their lives, leaving them desperate to permanently fill that void. Narcissists sniff out that vulnerability from a mile away and use it as a powerful weapon of control over their victims. A young man whose parents divorced when he was a child finds himself constantly making excuses for his narcissistic girlfriends blowing hot and cold, verbal abuse and infidelity because he's terrified of being alone again. With this insider intel on what makes you tick, narcissists systematically break down your defenses, causing you to constantly doubt yourself and rely more on their perception as the absolute truth. It's one of their most treacherous ploys. What the narcissist knows about themselves. While narcissists spend their whole lives studying you like a bug under a microscope, they're also finely tuned into their own sick superpowers. And unfortunately, their self-awareness only gets weaponized against you. Think of these cretins as supervillains who know their own origin stories and X-Men-like abilities to manipulate reality down to a science. Except their mutant powers are all about serving their own selfish desires at your expense. The superiority complex. To a narcissist, they're the main character and you're just an extra in the movie of their life. Their superiority complex is stronger than Superman after a bucket of otherworldly yellow sun rays. They're convinced the world revolves around them, their skills are unmatched, and their wants should automatically take top priority over everyone else's. On trash day, an entitled neighbor will screech at the sanitation workers for not perfectly rearranging the cans that she left blocking the sidewalk, because, how dare these grunts make more work for my busy, important life? The unquenchable need for admiration. Narcissists crave praise and obsessive admiration like dragons hoarding gold. It's never enough regardless of how much positive attention and affirmation they receive. It's just fuel for their bonfire of vanity that will never satisfy their endless hunger. A famous actor will read any interview that mentions their name or new project. even scrolling deep into the comments to find a single person disagreeing so they can attempt to destroy them online for not worshipping their genius sufficiently. The inability to truly love. For narcissists, love is really just an expression of how much you can feed their ego and serve their needs. They're simply incapable of the empathy, vulnerability, and compromise required to have a genuine, unconditional bond with another human being. You're either useful for their selfish agenda or disposable when you stop providing value. A wife explains her worsening depression and crying out for emotional support from her cold, distant husband, only to have him snap, "Why are you always making your problems about you? This is embarrassing for me." The pathological need for control. Like ruthless dictators, narcissists need to dominate every aspect of their little fiefdoms and have everyone bend to their insane demands. They'll go through absurd contortions and sow utter chaos just to maintain the illusion that they're a master puppeteer holding all the strings. God forbid anyone outshines their spotlight or challenges their warped realities. On a family vacation, a narcissistic mother will throw a raging tantrum and threaten to cancel the entire trip unless every miserable moment follows her rigid, mundane itinerary down to the minute. So whenever a narcissist seems likable, confident, or even charming, understand it's all a role they're playing for their own benefit. And they know it, which makes them even more dangerous and destructive. That's why it's so important to be able to identify these malignant manipulators before they infect your life. Which brings us to seeing through their masks and tactics. Now that you're hip to what these masters of deception really know about you and their own pathological mindsets, it's time to expose their go-to-con jobs for what they are. Once you start seeing the patterns, you'll be narcissist-proof like a Neil Breen film. The tragic irony is that while narcissists constantly accuse others of being fake, they're the ones wearing an impeccably crafted array of masks designed to lure you into their web of chaos and exploitation. Their many malicious personas include the pity predator. Just when you think a narcissist is being vulnerable or opening up about their tragic childhood and deep emotional wounds, watch out. It's the oldest trick in their slimy playbook, an Academy Award-worthy performance with crocodile tears, designed to activate your empathy and gain your trust, before they completely betray it and make you their enabler and punching bag. A boyfriend lays it on thick by admitting he had an alcoholic, abusive father and has a lot of unresolved pain he's working on in therapy. But pretty soon, he's using these excuses to routinely blow up at his terrified girlfriend with toxic rage and violence. The smug life coach. These self-appointed gurus see themselves as modern-day prophets here to enlighten you with their self-made philosophies like get rich by doing zero work, or cut out all negative people from your life, aka anyone with boundaries who calls out their BS. Through a combination of backhanded compliments and lifting nuggets of truth from actual experts, they bank on you falling under their spell. A flaky best friend is constantly hawking new get-rich-quick schemes, life-affirming, crystal healing scams, and other pseudoscience. They'll reel you in with promises that buying their overpriced products will solve all your problems when really their only goal is taking your money while doing zero labor themselves. The gaslighting goblin. Is it hot or cold in here? Am I coming or going? If you feel like you're constantly questioning your grip on reality and losing your mind whenever you're around a certain person, run as fast as you can. It's the telltale sign of being massively gaslit by an insidious narcissist messing with your head for their own amusement and control. A manipulative husband will berate his wife for being a nag and control freak anytime she tries to communicate reasonable boundaries about his chronic tardiness or drinking. Eventually, she doubts her gut instincts and lives in utter confusion and self-blame. The boundary butcher. Do you have a friend who drunkenly calls you at 3 a.m., asks for huge favors or loans, then ghosts you for weeks when you need their reciprocal help? Congratulations, you've encountered a wild boundary butcher, the depraved narcissist species that sees your limits as red capes to be charged and thrashed about relentlessly. A grown daughter constantly depends on her parents to babysit, clean her home, lend her money for frivolous luxuries, then throws explosive meltdowns when they refuse to be endlessly taken advantage of. How dare you make me feel so guilty and set reasonable limits on my wants? Once you recognize these personas and manipulative methods for what they are, you'll realize the narcissists were the frauds all along. And what's even more freeing is understanding that their whole deranged belief system about their superiority and your subservience is a gigantic delusion. Because as terrifying as these poisonous snakes may seem, you have one huge power they'll never be able to comprehend: the ability to walk away and starve them of the attention they're so desperately addicted to. Recognizing their manipulation phrases. Narcissists are not only masters of deception, they're also masters of language. They use carefully crafted phrases to control, manipulate, and gaslight their victims. Here are some examples. You're too sensitive, emotional. This is a classic way for narcissists to invalidate your feelings and make you question your own reality. By labeling you as oversensitive, they can dismiss any concerns or criticisms you have about their behavior. You're just like your father, mother. This is a low blow designed to hit you where it hurts by drawing parallels between you and someone you may have had a difficult relationship with. It's a way to undermine your sense of self and make you more susceptible to their manipulation. I'm just trying to help you. This phrase is often used as a smokescreen to hide the narcissist's true intentions, which are typically self-serving. They'll claim they're offering advice or guidance for your own good, when really they're just trying to control you or put you down. You're overreacting. This is a classic gaslighting tactic used to make you question your own perception of reality. By telling you that you're overreacting, the narcissist can downplay their own problematic behavior and make you feel like you're the one with the problem. You're being selfish. Narcissists love to project their own selfishness onto their victims. By accusing you of being selfish, they can deflect attention away from their own self-centered behavior and make you feel guilty for having any needs or boundaries. These phrases are just a few examples of the many manipulative tactics that narcissists use to control their victims. Being able to recognize these phrases for what they are can help you avoid falling into their traps and maintain your sense of self-worth. Protecting yourself and fighting back. So now that we've pulled back the curtain on the narcissist's twisted inner world and their arsenal of mind-bending weapons, you might be feeling a little shell-shocked, overwhelmed, or even helpless. But here's the empowering truth. You hold the true superpower to shut down these poisonous pests and prevent them from infecting your life. And it all starts with some radical self-love and uncompromising boundaries. Reclaiming your self-worth. At their core, narcissists are sad, broken individuals with fractured egos and gaping voids of insecurity that they try to fill by tearing others down. The only resentment and self-loathing they spark should be aimed squarely at themselves. Repeat after me. I am worthy of love, respect, and peace of mind. A narcissist's vitriol and manipulation says way more about their toxic projections than my inherent value as a human being. Setting ironclad boundaries. While it's perfectly reasonable to have empathy and grant second chances to people who've messed up, narcs only see that as license to keep violating your boundaries. That's why you need to establish hard limits from the get-go and stick to them like a pit bull with a bone. A co-worker responds to their narcissistic boss's verbal abuse in a team meeting by stating directly and without emotion, "I don't allow anyone to speak to me that way or question my work ethic." Save the insults and criticism for your mirror. "Until you can have a professional discussion with me, our meeting is over." Then follows through by leaving immediately when the bully inevitably explodes. Cutting off the supply. Like addicts, narcissists feed off your trauma and negative energy like a drug. The second you start sticking up for yourself and enforcing boundaries, they'll go into withdrawals and ramp up the cray-cray to unprecedented levels to regain their sick rush of control. As excruciating as it may feel in the short term, you must summon the willpower to completely cut off this toxic narcissistic supply. Block them from all communication channels, and if needed, get law enforcement involved and legal protections against harassment and stalking. They thrive on your fear, so never negotiate with emotional terrorists. Finding your tribe. Last but not least, it's crucial to surround yourself with a supportive squad who sees your authentic worth and can help you summon the courage to stand up to narcissists. Whether it's counselors, trusted friends, community groups, or even social media, fill your circle with unconditional love and positivity to crowd out the violence, manipulation, and negativity these losers are slinging your way. Just because narcissists think they're the protagonists of some cosmic tragicomedy doesn't give them a free pass to be the villains hell-bent on poisoning your life. At the end of the day, we all have the power to write our own stories full of self-belief, healthy boundaries, and drama-free awesomeness completely devoid of any narcissistic bit players. Phew, what a wild ride unveiling the narcissist's twisted psyche and the mind-blowing ways they try to manipulate and control us. To recap the key takeaways, narcissists are eerily adept students of both your deepest insecurities and their own malicious tendencies. They'll stop at nothing to learn your buttons to push, all while donning an array of creepy masks to lure you into their traps. Whether it's the pity predator, smug life coach, gaslighting goblin, or boundary butcher, these diabolical personas speak the same toxic language of deception designed to feed their sickening superiority complexes and unquenchable needs for admiration and control. But don't let their mastermind tactics and melodramatic head games rent space in your headspace. The true power lies in recognizing these narcissistic ploys for what they are, radically loving yourself, setting uncompromising boundaries, and cutting off their drama supply for good. Surround yourself with a bulletproof tribe of supporters who affirm your worth, and never forget that you alone are the heartbeat that gives your life story its profound meaning and magic. These narcissistic bit players are barely footprints in the grand journey toward your unstoppable light. And that's the narcissist's worst nightmare, your fearless self-belief that outshines all their manipulative mind tricks. Choose that power, always. If you want to keep learning how to spot and protect yourself from other toxic personalities like narcissists, be sure to subscribe. I'll be dropping more eye-opening videos that could seriously be life-saving knowledge. Don't become another tragic narcissist victim statistic when you